Are you feeling that your YouTube gig is burning you out? Do you feel like the hustle and grind has made you feel like you've lost your joy along the way? I have a special guest today, and we're going to share with you several tips to help you maintain your grit on your YouTube journey. Let's dive in. Hey, it's Gord here. Welcome. If it's your first time here and it's your passion to make great videos, become a ninja at video editing, and learn more tips on how to succeed with video and marketing on YouTube, then make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the bell notification icon so you don't miss a thing. Please share with us in the comments below what solutions you have to help hack burnout risk so that you stay motivated in your YouTube journey. I'd like to welcome my good friend Benjamin Stone. He's a holistic health practitioner for the past decade, and he's currently studying a PhD in natural medicine through quantum science. Welcome, Benjamin.
Thanks, Gord. I appreciate being here today. It's so exciting.
Thank you for being here, Benjamin. I really appreciate you joining us today to help us. Let's get started and have Benjamin give us a definition for burnout, and then we're going to dive into our 5 special tips. Benjamin, tell us what burnout is.
So the traditional definition of burnout was physical or mental collapse caused by overwork or stress. It often referred to career people who suffered severe stress and high ideals in helping others, like say doctors and nurses. Symptoms usually include being exhausted, listless, and unable to cope. Other words might be apathy, overwhelm, or fatigue. Today the stakes are so much higher, and many people live in a constant state of stress, and this is due to a lack of holism or self-care, otherwise known as a lack of balance in body, mind, and spirit.
Thanks for the great definition, Benjamin. I know I can relate to several of those items on the list. Tip number 1, it's about setting expectations. The format we're going to go through with this involves me sort of sharing with Benjamin what I go through, and then we're going to hear some interesting suggestions from him on how to deal with things. So with setting expectations, I have very high expectations of myself. I'm a perfectionist. I want to do very well. I oftentimes feel that I can't produce enough because of how deep I go into the process of preparing. I feel pressures on myself to produce so many videos a week, to have the consistency of publishing, the timing, the frequency. I feel that I need to keep up sometimes with the competition, and that proliferates. And, it's easy to sort of work yourself up into a state of overwhelm, and then the cycle repeats itself again. And then you have the people around you, and they have expectations. Your audience expects you to publish, like I said, with some sort of frequency. Sometimes you have family and friends that are challenging you, and there's a lot of noise that's easy to put in your head, and I'm being honest, sometimes I struggle with a lot of that, and I get into a state of overwhelm. So that combined with the culture of YouTube as someone trying to grow in there and deal with the YouTube culture ideas of following the algorithm and views and subs and all the stuff that goes along with that, it's tough sometimes. So Benjamin, what do you say with people that have all of these pressures they put on themselves, these expectations?
Expectations is a really important thing to think about. And one of the things that I would say to try to reduce your stress or reduce the suffering that you create on yourself is to look at what expectations you are creating for yourself, where reality is, and what effort you are putting into your projects. So when you put a certain amount of energy or focus into a certain project, and you have a very high, lofty ideal in terms of what that outcome should be, and reality is slightly below or even a lot below that mental expectation, that difference is going to create what I call suffering. And that's going to eventually lead to burnout, because in order for you to bring reality up to this imaginary expectation, you're going to have to pour more willpower into that. And willpower is a limited resource. And so I think it's really important to step back and ask yourself, what am I doing right now to get me to the goals or milestones that I am seeking? Stepping back and having a very realistic observation about where you're at and where you want to go, and not projecting yourself so far into the future, but stepping back and saying, okay, here are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, I'm going to capitalize on my strengths, follow a procedure, follow a schedule, and I'm going to take time as well to balance and work on the areas that I'm not as strong in. And I believe when you do that and you set realistic and honest expectations, then you're going to take some of the pressure off yourself, ultimately stress and high ideals that, according to our definition, are going to lead towards burnout.
So if I'm hearing this correctly, because I have a tendency to set the bar maybe too high sometimes, I have this pressure that I manifest, and you call it suffering as an example, that's just not really based in reality. So in a way, you're saying, you got to be thinking about reality check there too, and I guess not forget about the progress that you're making and where you're at. As long as you work forward, that's in the right direction, and let go of some of that pressure valve.
Absolutely. I think it's important, again, step back, look at where your goals or milestones are, what direction you're going in, and then really assess, what is it that I am accomplishing in this moment without creating so much idealistic and unrealistic expectations upon yourself.
Okay, excellent. Tip number 2, taking care of your health physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Sometimes, Benjamin, I just dive right into my day, and it's I just got up, and right away the mind starts going, and I start to think about, I got all of this stuff to do, boom, 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 and I don't feel hungry right when I get up, and I just dive into the work. And then what happens, you get deeper and deeper, and I just get so focused in the work that I start to not so much think about, by practice, about wanting to eat. And, I bounce around. If I get distracted by social, I keep going into things, and then I'm boom, boom, boom. The day's and I'm in the grind, and I'm going away. And then I realize I've been sitting for hours. Sometimes my body doesn't feel great, but I still feel the pressure to go, and I can easily just, almost at times, unless I'm hungry, and sometimes I'll just go and cheat and eat chocolate and stuff I shouldn't eat. And, sometimes I just find the discipline goes out the window, and before I know it, I feel almost like my productivity has waned, and I've spent hours and hours. And I believe that I'm just, not taking care of myself. At times, I'm just not doing the best of a job. So, what do you say about that?
So I have a holistic practice, and that's looking at physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. And I think it's safe to create an analogy of a performance athlete, or even a mechanical device like a race car. It's very important that you're putting in the best fuel, you're giving it rest, you're practicing, you're having good mental thoughts, you're being positive. So if we apply this back now to a healthy individual, I think most of us know that we need to get up, we need to set our day with a good mindset. Maybe if we've already awakened with some anxiety, we need to do some meditation. And then we need to fuel our body and prepare it to function throughout the day. Additionally, we also know that if we just keep pushing the grind with any kind of mechanical device, let alone our own bodies, it's going to break down. It's just not going to be able to keep up. And you ultimately want to achieve a goal with a body, mind, spirit that you're not giving it the fuel to make it all the way down the road. It's just ludicrous at best. And this is for a healthy person.
And before you go further,
Yes.
you're making me think of like a wheel that's out of balance that we don't really recognize that it's out of balance till something breaks down.
Yeah, we absolutely don't know what we don't know. And for example, if we look at people with, say, diagnosed ADD, they're going to have additional struggles right out of the gate, like focus, inattentive, impulsivity. Some will have overfocus. And what's really essential for those people, let alone a healthy individual that's not diagnosed with that, is to ensure that they're getting enough exercise, getting blood flow to the brain. They are, allowing the monkey mind ideas to be written out on a separate page so they can come back to that at a later date. It's absolutely essential that they're getting protein throughout the day, maintaining dopamine levels high in the brain so that they're not looking for a constant dopamine hit through some sort of impulsive act, or it will also not allow them to stay focused on the task at hand.
So you're saying like nutritionally, things like the dopamine hit, like, I mean, the YouTubers, like me, I know when I see results happen that I'm happy with, etc., or watch certain things, you get sort of like a high, like you get these moments, and but you're saying we actually need to be sure that our diet is balanced well, so we have what we need nutritionally to be healthy, and not have to come through just manifesting those kind of things like through hits.
Yeah, absolutely, because what you're looking at, what people need to remember is that the fuel that you put into your body is what your body uses to create the hormones and enzymes and all the different processes in your body. So if you're not putting in good fuel, you're not going to get the best benefits from your body. We spoke earlier about, what's your reason for even being in YouTube. And I think what's really important about that, again, is to really get serious with yourself and write down, why am I doing this? What is it that I'm trying to get as a payoff in some sort? And when you look at that, that's where some of these dopamine hits come from, because are you looking to shock your audience? Are you looking to serve and get positive response? Are you looking at those algorithms and you're hoping, hey, I need to have, 15,000 views, and then that way I'm going to be valuable enough? So these are all motivating factors that I think people need to look at. What is driving you towards that? Once you know that, then you can start to manage it, again, through healthy modalities such as taking a sauna, doing exercise, deep breathing, working for 25 minutes, taking a 5-minute break, ensuring you have snacks on hand, protein throughout the day. All of these things are absolutely essential for your machine to be working at its optimal.
And this made me think of one other thing. When you started to say about how getting the dopamine hit from the views, or seeing how long your watch time is in YouTube, and these things that are giving you the little dopamine hits. The reality is a lot of those things that are giving us the hits that may be part of what our goals are, like serving in that, we don't have control of the feedback that's coming. So it's very sporadic. And if we're dependent on that, sometimes it can be fleeting, and that's why all the more reason, right?
Absolutely. That gets into what I would refer to as other people's expectations. So the moment that we put more weight into other people's expectations that's greater than our own, drive and motivation for doing things, then we're going to lead ourselves down a path towards burnout, because we may never get to the point of fulfilling our dreams when we are constantly trying to respond to other people's expectations. So I think it's very healthy, again, to come back, do all these different types of modalities, understand where your emotional well-being is at, and write down what is it that you are seeking to accomplish. And sure, take the opinions and observations of other people around you as maybe a bit of a guidepost to help you understand, what I'm doing is causing this response. But that shouldn't take you off of your game. It should be nothing more than a feedback system to allow you to adjust your thinking and actions.
So what does the act of the writing do? What's the purpose of doing that? Is it so that you have record to remind yourself of your why and not have dependency on the outside, like we're saying?
Well, one of the key things to writing things down, it's been proven that journaling, for example, first thing in the morning and before bed, but of course at any point during the day, is that it allows you to get it out of your mind and onto a piece of paper or a digital medium that you can go back to later. And that allows the mind to calm down, because you've got one thing now that's in your mind that says, oh, go back to that piece of paper later. There's stuff there for me to look at. Now you can refocus on the task at hand.
Super. Tip number 3, need stretch goals. This is a great one for me, Benjamin, because for the longest time, I was a master of sticking in my comfort zone. But because recently the YouTube Partner Program upped the requirements to needing 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch time hours to qualify, for whatever reason, well, I know the reason, because I want to help people and also help myself at the same time, I created a challenge that was going to, to achieve that goal of reaching the 4,000 watch time hours, which meant for me to do over triple what I was achieving in any month prior. It was just to me, just a bold, audacious goal. And I had to step up in so many ways, way out of my comfort zone, maybe the way I've been operating for the last 6 months with whatever productivity and execution and not having gone live many times. And I had to, step up in such a way that it scared me. But at the same time, I saw so many powerful things, outcome potential that could come out of stepping up in this way. So I got very inspired to go for it and share my challenge with everyone out there. And I went for it, and I did. In fact, I smashed through the 4,000 hours barrier, and I got as high as 4,300, blowing my wildest expectations of being able to achieve that, because I thought it would go right to the wire. And it goes to show that whatever limitation thinking I had or where I thought I'd end up, it didn't matter. I just showed up every day and I almost like it fed on myself. Each thing that I did out of my comfort zone, where I go, that wasn't so bad. And I made this amazing progress. And I just got so excited. And I think about how much time I used to spend in comfort zone and procrastination thinking. It's great. But guess what? The challenge ended, and now it's I take this breath and I go, well, now how do I follow that act? It's back to the game again. There's no I almost feel like there's no such thing as dwelling in the comfort zone, because it's really not going to serve you in any tangible way. So, what do you think about that? How do we manage the goal stretch game without blowing?
Well, I love the idea of the goal stretch. If you're not growing, you're dying. And we're here as humans to continue to grow, continue to engage in life. And really, that is only through taking action, whatever that is, step by step, bit by bit, and continuing to push yourself outside of your comfort zone. And I would say that as long as you are looking at the points that we made earlier, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual well-being, then you're preparing your body, your mind, your psyche to follow your goals and your dreams that come from your heart or your spirit, however you look at it.
So that's interesting, because now that I think about it, my confidence has gone way up as a result of that. So it's almost like you're saying, like actually taking the actions, the steps, like I did. It's like one success got me into getting more excited to do the next one and the next one. And so I didn't want to go back to being more in the comfort zone, So, but it's still calling upon me executing on things that habitually I'm not used to doing with any consistency, like working to find the right next person to go live with, and continuing to refine my product that I would give in going live. So it just seemed exciting and inspiring to take each action step.
So I really love a couple things here about what you're experiencing. First of all, when we start to take action, then our mind goes into a different focus, and we don't spend so much of our time now coming up with alternative timelines in the future that just don't exist. Again, what am I doing right now to get to those goals? And so as soon as you take some action, the universe ultimately is going to start to backfill and provide opportunity for you to continue to move forward. If I could, speak to Mel Robbins for a moment, with her 5-second rule, and the fact that our brain is wired to protect us regardless of what it is we're working on. We need to be able to take action, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and jump on that action before our brain starts to kick in and find all kinds of excuses to not move forward.
Mm-hmm. You know what's interesting is that as you were saying that, I was thinking about you said about not trying to like think forward and map everything out. I had no clue that several new opportunities would come my way, including new clients in the process, as well as opportunities to do collaborative courses and other things, and to do, a whole bunch of things that I thought, yes, these are in my plans and my goals, but I didn't realize that they would be manifesting as quick as they did as a byproduct of stepping my game up just to go live, to work, to produce more hours. So it goes to show that those of us that try to think ahead and figure out every chess move to come, it's almost like it doesn't serve us. It's like a lot of wasted energy in some regard. Like, not to say the planning isn't good, but some of it is just not necessary.
Yeah, well, there's really no point of arrival on this experience called life. And so with regards to planning, I think it's valuable to make a nice skeletal plan every single day that's focused. I'm going to, hit these 3 items. I'm going to put my focus there, and everything else is not on this list or this table. And leaving yourself open to the fact that life is going to pour in at different times, and you have the chance to take advantage of different opportunities. I think that's the only way to engage in life.
Yeah, so being open to allow for the unknown and not think in your mind that you know it all, how it's all going to unfold, and allowing, like you said, the universe just to unfold and the opportunities to materialize as we take our action and then just focus. Okay, that's great.
And absolutely. And I think the only last comment that I would add into that is to summarize the stretch goal, and that is, if you want to go further in anything that you do, be it a bodybuilder, a runner, an artist, or a YouTuber, you're going to need to do practice, rest, and stretch and go a little bit further. And that's the only way to get to success.
Tip number 4, community support and coaching. The YouTube world is full of lots of ups and downs, stats, performance, algorithm updates, YouTube experiments. YouTube is a forever changing world. The landscape, the digital world, the community we live in is always changing. So, for me, that can be overwhelming at times. And it's great to be able to exchange ideas and, find a sense of relevancy and belonging and being able to exchange our ideas and our challenges with others while, we're going along our journey. And, a lot of people can ask others for help get accountability partners. And I just think community has meant so much to me in between private coaching and belonging to things like Facebook groups. And of course, trying to find the balance in it all is another thing. But I find support is so important.
Yeah, so we're social creatures, humans, and it's really important for us to engage with other people. That being said, having a coach is really important because it helps us with our accountability, and it also helps us push our boundaries and forces us to grow, like we were talking about earlier. The other benefit to having a coach as well as a supportive community is that they can help you find your traits and hidden golden nuggets that allow you to move outside your comfort zone and go into areas that you may not have even noticed.
Yes.
I think that's really, really, really important. That being said, it's also important not to put too much stock in other people's opinions that is ultimately going to derail you. I think it's important to take it in as part of, the overall picture. It's also really important to be open and coachable and not be a know-it-all, because you're going to need to have the awareness to not underestimate your gut instinct, as well as not allowing your ego to take over.
This is very interesting because as you were saying that, I was thinking about situations where I'm kind of blind because of maybe being set in my ways about certain things and have like this sort of like doubting part in my mind challenge and say, oh, I kind of blew this, or I did this again and whatever. And half the time it's just my hypercritical, self-critical perception. And when you talk to someone or deal with people in your support community that are, fans and supportive of you, you may realize that you're just like not letting go of some of these things. And unfortunately, if you have challenges with confidence in your past, and like I did after going through a period of being let go from my long-term corporate career in IT before, you can lose confidence and it can be a struggle to gain that back and getting support. Sometimes, you seek the advice and opinions of so many people and then, you struggle to find the confidence to make that gut decision, as you say. And, it's so important. I agree.
Yeah, I think it's important not to lose sight of who you are. So if you need to take that time, as we spoke about earlier, to meditate and get into that place to find out who you really are. The other thing that I would speak to about gut instinct versus ego is that not only are they different because I'm saying they are, but they're different if you become aware of your body. And so an exercise that you can do in a meditative way is that the next time you're faced with a community or coach that is suggesting or telling you to do something, and you have a response that is opposite to what they're suggesting, I suggest you take a few minutes to close your eyes and see where that feeling is. When they say gut instinct, it is truly a visceral feeling down in the gut area, where ego tends to very much live in the head and may create, when you're communicating, a sense of adrenaline that starts to rush through your body. Those are really good things to be aware of so that you can start to make some decisions that say, hey, this is my ego. I need to listen to my coach, or you know what, my gut instinct tells me I need to go in this direction, and I'm going to hold true to my feelings.
That's great advice. And you just made me think of like one last point. The greater part about this coaching and accountability and gut feel or whatever, it's all in the perspective of having to take action. And by having that accountability or community there for you, and that you make effort to participate, it's going to help you move forward. And like, I always wonder, like, what happens if like the community, the core community, like Tube Ritual, just disappeared? I'd feel like, part of my heart got ripped away because there's so many great friendships and supportive people there, and I'm able to support others. And so I just wanted to echo that again about how important it is to have that to help you with action.
I absolutely agree. As they say, keep your hand in a bucket full of fish. There's a good chance you might catch one.
All right. Tip number 5, do not give up on your dream. This is a very big one to me because my why is the reason why I'm here on YouTube. And for me, my why was predominantly to be able to educate, because I like to teach. I like to serve people. I want to make a difference, impact lives, and help people, improve in their business through the use of video and all the skills I bring to the table from my years of consulting. But at the same time, to fulfill that dream, because I'm full time at this, I also need to earn, because I'm not ready to retire yet. And so it's very important to me to somehow find that balance. But the question is, because many know it can take many years, and I'll never forget Brian G. Johnson telling me, Gord, if you're going to be going at this for real for the long term, don't expect that, you're going to build a business and what you can do, from YouTube, outside of YouTube in such a short time, that you're going to have to put in a good couple of solid years or near that to start to see the results, to get to a level where you can really start to, do things more significantly. And, I'm like 19 months or so into it now, and all of this is starting to happen. The money's coming, the clients, the affiliate income, everything's starting to work. And, it took a lot of effort. And I know a lot of people aren't prepared to put in that grind. I'm calling it grind, that some people quit before their time. And like, what do you do to people that are like, still feel in their heart they have this amazing dream, but they just, need to figure out, like, what do I do? Do I throw in the towel, or do I, like, how do I not give up my dream?
It's good decision making at the end of the day. So the word dream, we want to make that reality, correct? So dream is this idea or purpose that's deep within us that we're driven to go towards. And I would call it purpose, but we can call it dream. Now we want to make that real. So in my opinion, it's really important that we take calculated risks. If you don't engage in life and move forward, taking a chance, then you're never going to move the yardsticks anywhere. On the same token, I completely understand the importance that you may not be an island unto yourself. So you need to ask yourself, how does this impact my family? Do I have, the support of my wife? Will we be able to pay the bills? And I think that just requires some very important decision making that you can write down on paper as a pro and con, and have these discussions with these important people in your life so that you can move forward to follow your dream. I really believe, Gord, that if we do not follow our dream, if we do not follow our purpose, then we're going to be forever in a place of regret. It's really important that we embrace the unknown, because that's the spirit of growth.
Yes, I think that's so important. And I know for me, because at first, when I was told that expectation that it could take that period of time, I sat there and I go, can I financially get through what I need to get through? but this is in my heart where I want to be. And, that's almost like a form of blind faith for quite a while that you have to invest here. And, I can see how many just don't want to see it through. And, this is again why the support and all these other variables that we talked about and health and so many dynamics come into play. And I've worked on a lot of that stuff the last couple of years. And I know I'm not so perfect in maintaining the disciplines that I've learned, but I'm now much more aware. And as I'm growing and get out of my comfort zone, new things are happening. And I got to remember how some of the things that I may have lost my way on and get the disciplines back. But deep in my heart, I wake up and I go, no, I don't want to be, looking for something else. And then that helps me. I know I'm in the right place because my gut tells me, right?
Right. Yeah. We tend to have a focus on ourselves. I mean, we're the ones in this body and having this journey, but we look at our own problems as though they are greater than all other problems that exist on the planet. And I just want to remind people that nothing is insurmountable. There are phenomenal rags to riches or riches to rags and back to riches that we need to remember. I think it's really important that you become really aware of the fact that we have a very limited ability to see the different quantum possibilities of life. And that our only options are to engage and actually take action. Otherwise, we're just going to self-destruct because we're going to stay in the exact same place forever and ever and ever. And this is where regret comes in, depression comes in, suffering comes in, disease, and ultimately death.
Wow, that's pretty powerful. Wow, Benjamin, that was just awesome. You shared so many great tips with us and we had a great conversation. What do people do to get in touch with you? Where do they find you?
Well, thanks, Gord. This was a really exciting opportunity. And if anyone's interested in finding out more about me, then go to Facebook, Benjamin Stone, Holistic Health Practitioner, or check out my website at healtheducator.ca. We've covered a lot of wonderful things here today, and I just want to make it very clear to everyone that this video and the opinions shared here are not to replace the advice of your physician or your primary healthcare provider. If you feel that it's necessary to get help, be sure to start in the right place. But thanks for coming and hearing me out.
Wow. Who says that longevity in the YouTube game is an easy task? I have the utmost respect for creators and look forward to sharing more insights and perspectives from other great creative YouTubers as I grow with you along my YouTube journey. If you haven't already, be sure to check out my playlist on YouTube success strategies for some more insights from the many influencers I've interviewed so far. See you in another video soon.